James Dean Reborn in CGI for Vietnam War film. That is a headline on today's MB Movie News.
Yes, Stephen, this one is coming in from the Hollywood Reporter, though in all honesty, it is coming via the Twitter feed of one Chris Evans, because he highlighted this story to us both. We highlighted it to you first and foremost, and you then
not exclusively
shared it.
me.
Yeah, not exclusively, but you obviously seen it. You shared it with me, and it became something that we had to speak about. Obviously, what you mentioned there, James Dean being reborn, if you like, which is a terrible phrase in CG for Finding Jack, which is a movie about 10,000 military dogs being abandoned essentially after the Vietnam War. He's going to be playing apparently a secondary leading role, which is incredible when you think about what they will have to achieve in this movie to make that happen. The actual director, I believe this was, went on to say, we searched high and low for the perfect character to portray the role of Rogan, which has some extreme complex character arcs. And after months of research, we decided on James Dean. We feel very honoured that his family supports us and will take every precaution to ensure that his legacy is one of the most epic film stars to date, is kept firmly intact. The family views this as his fourth movie, a movie he never got to make. We don't intend to let his fans down now. What is your thoughts on this? Because I have my thoughts on it, Stephen, and they are pretty
opposite from what you're reading there, John. I think I wasn't very comfortable reading that headline, you know. Reborn. If this was an incomplete film that James Dean did back in 1950, whatever it was, before 55, so I could understand why they would want to do this. For them to say that they couldn't find anyone for the part, pretty sure you could.
It's doing a disservice to all of those actors.
Yeah, exactly, John. This sounds too gimmicky for me. And I know they're getting the blessing of, obviously, the James Dean estate to do this, John, or they wouldn't be able to do it. Baffles me. You've got to be very careful where you're going with these things as well. Now, we were talking about this when I showed you this news, John, in regards to Peter Cushing's estate. That's a different thing altogether. Obviously, the storyline and that character were obviously connected. So they had to have, obviously, the character in there. And you couldn't think of anyone else recreating the role other than, obviously, you know, using someone that looks very much like Peter Cushing, which is very hard. So in that sense, I understood why it was done. Obviously, they had, the permission of the Peter Cushing estate as well, just similar to the James Dean one here. But in this instance, James Dean doesn't have any connection with this film. Finding Jack is, I'm led to believe anyway.
Yeah. No, he doesn't. Definitely doesn't. No.
I can see where the family's coming from, John. They want to honour, obviously, James Dean. And because of when he died, you're talking over 60 years ago now, 64 years since he passed away at a very young age. I think he was only 24, John.
Very young, yeah.
And he only made 3 films. So that's what they're saying in this. This would be his 4th film. For someone to have only made 3 films back in the 1950s and still been remembered as an icon is amazing. So that's why I think it's... I don't mean to be disrespectful here from the director's point of view. I think there's 2 directors actually, John. It just seems like it's a showpiece. Like it's just a gimmick to pull people in to watch this film. I like the sound of the story.
Yeah,
and it's a story.
I'm just reading the synopsis just now.
It's a film that would interest me regardless of who's in it. It wouldn't really bother me who's in it. I just find this I find it tacky, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, Stephen, I find it tacky as well. I think it's disrespectful to the man's legacy. I'm very surprised that he's estate for green lighting it, first and foremost. I think it's a slippery slope when you start using likeness of people who have been dead for 50, 60, 70 years in some cases, and then start making them reborn, if you like, bring them back onto the screen, just at the whims of a director who's too lazy to go out and find a modern day actor who could maybe exude some of the charisma that this man just is synonymous with. You're speaking about him being an icon, Stephen, for obviously those 3 movies. Rebel Without a Cause, that iconic outfit he's got on, I mean, it wouldn't look out of place today. The red bomber jacket, the white t-shirt, the jeans, the boots. He's just an iconic looking guy. The hair, just the shots of him walking as well with his coat on and whatnot. Just an incredibly cool guy, remarkable actor. It almost feels like he had more movies. We were speaking about it. It's incredible he only had 3 movies. feels like he had an entire career. It's almost like Buddy Holly in terms of music terms. The guy achieved so much with so little, left a everlasting impact on people.
Yeah.
But there's no way that this director or directors, Anton Ernst and Tata Kovac, I think their names are, there's no way they can't go out and find another actor in today's society. I mean, we're speaking about Robert Pattinson and the likes. They are guys who are like that. They've got that same charisma, they've got the same acting ability, they're very much alive, they could come in and do the role. But I will say this, from a purely technical standpoint, it'll be very intriguing to see how they get on, because this could be pioneering for perhaps other reasons. Maybe not bringing back and reviving long dead actors, but maybe taking people who were obviously much younger and had a better look about them without being too ageist, and then bring them back to their youth. If they can do it right and make it look just imperceptible to what is reality, then it will be very intriguing to see from a technical standpoint. The fact he is going to be a secondary lead, he's going to have an extensive amount of screen time, you would have thought, and he's going to play a big part. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what the movie is, how it's going to be set. Will it be mostly darkly lit scenes he'll be in? Because you tend to find that's what they utilised with Grand Moff Tarkin and Rogue One. It was more dark scenes, and you can get away with more. You can hide more of the unnatural, uncanny valley look. Yeah. But the technology's growing all the time, Stephen. We've seen it with the de-aging, and we've seen it with the likes of Michael Douglas and obviously Kurt Russell, Robert Downey Jr. So it's definitely something that's getting closer and closer.
Edward Furlong.
Edward Furlong as well, yeah. And Alita Battle Angel, just the way they... Not so much de-aging, but it was incredible, the actual CGI in that. Yeah. So from a purely technical standpoint, it'll be certainly interesting to see how they manage to capture his likeness, but I think it's a slippery slope, utilising long dead actors' likeness just because you're too lazy to go out and find a similar actor. In terms of the actual synopsis, so before I let you in, Stephen, it is very intriguing. It's about a journalist, Fletcher Carson. He joins the war effort. He loses his daughter and his wife in a plane crash. They come back. He comes back and then he rescues a wounded Labrador and helps nurse it back to health. He names the dog Jack, and the bond deepens, and he begins to regain his will to live. So it's a very good story about how a dog and this guy, both very wounded, also dysfunctional, I don't want to say humans because one's a dog, a canine and a dog, and just that great bond between a man and a dog, and them both nursing each other back to health. We've seen that done in many a movie, and I think if they get the story right, or the adaptation right, then it could be a hit, but I think this is just unnecessary.
Well, I was going to say, John, I don't know if it's laziness or not, because they seem to be going to the trouble of recreating, someone that's been dead for over 60 years, and that's going to be a tricky process.
Well, they're saying they're using actual footage and photographs, so I don't know how that's going to work.
A voice double in as well, so it's not really going to be James Dean anyway. So it just seems to be going a lot of trouble to, obviously promote this film for these very reasons, and I think that's the wrong way to promote a film.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Stephen. I think it's for promotion as well, because this will help sell the movie perhaps to some people. Just the controversy over this usage of his likeness, that will get more people in to watch it.
Well, Chris Evans has highlighted it.
Yeah, he's highlighted it. Stephen, he was a very unique looking guy, and I don't think there's anybody alive today who could perhaps, you could maybe substitute. Robert Pattinson's the one that springs to mind right away. Similar head of hair.
John, someone I think was very inspired by him was the late great Luke Perry. In his youth. Certainly carried it on to his later days as well. He obviously saw James Dean as a hero figure. Yeah. So
just something about those 50s actors, Stephen. The likes of Brando when he was younger as well. They had that machismo, masculinity, but they were quite tender in the way they did performances as well. That's what set them apart. They were from a different era, but they were pioneering standard bearers, if you like, as well, for a new era of acting. Look, I'll take it for what it is, man. I'll keep an eye on it and see what's happening in terms of the actual visuals. It will be certainly intriguing to see them try to recreate these likeness. I actually say to you, what being black and white or what being colour? I doubt it will be in black and white, but I mean, maybe that could cover up some of the imperfections, if you like. I don't know.
Yeah, make it a bit artsy, yeah.
But I'm definitely in Chris Evans' corner in this one. It's wrong. It's setting up a very bad precedent going forward, where you bring back people who are long dead and they've not given their permission. But look, the family's on board, so we'll see what happens with it, Stephen. All things considered, and we'll move on now on that note to another thing which is shaking up the fandom. Do they want it? Do they not want it? What do they want? The Matrix 4. What kind of story are we getting, Stephen? Now, there's 4 options that Cinema Blend are giving this year. A prequel, a midquel, which I've never heard of, which is a sequel in the middle of the story. Yeah, Rogue One, exactly. You could just say a Rogue One, a sequel or a complete reboot. Now, Stephen, I know what I would prefer to see, But what the hell would you prefer to see in this? And what do you think they're more likely?
I prefer
to go for?
not to see Matrix 2 and 3.
Well, I liked the second one. It wasn't great. It wasn't as good as the first, but those twins were cool.
Well, I'll go through all
game was cool.
the obviously options, John. The prequel doesn't appeal to me. It hardly ever works. And you're going back to see maybe a young Morpheus. I'm not interested. It's very much like the Han Solo thing. Doesn't need explained where he was when in his youth. Kind of know where if somebody's just subscribed. Thank you very much. So that doesn't appeal to me.
Very Russian sounding name as well.
It doesn't appeal. Yeah, I know.
Pesky Russians coming in and
Could
trying to
be a
take
bot.
over.
But it doesn't appeal to me, a prequel. The mid-quel, whatever it's called.
Mid-quel, yes.
It's tricky. You're talking about maybe we're back to de-aging again, and
Don't have to de-age Keanu or Carrie
I
Ann Moss.
suppose it, in a way it could. It might help and add a bit of weight to the sequels if they did that. If it was in between maybe the first film and the second film, or the second film and the third film. It'd be very tricky though, obviously with timelines and obviously where characters are at certain times as well. I don't know if I want to revisit that time either, to be honest with you. I felt the sequels, although they opened up the Matrix world in a way, both films didn't really feel like the original film. I liked the sort of the isolation of these characters on the, I can never say the ship's name, Nebuchadnezzar, I think it's called, something like that. Might be wrong. It's been a while since I've seen it.
I've not seen the movie in about 15
and
years.
They were isolated on the ship anyway, 5 or 6 of them, whatever it was, and it opened up for the sequel with hundreds of, characters and stuff like that, and it just didn't have the same feel to me. That was one of the things I loved about the original film. It was just its originality. The endless possibilities, of this world, and was it real or not? It was just fascinating. The sequels never lived up to it, John, so I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't really want any of them. That's my answer, because I've taught myself out a sequel as well, because the sequels didn't work the first time around, so why would you want to make a fourth one?
Well, Stephen, you actually look at the breakdown of the poll, which they've done down the bottom, and it's very intriguing. You have a sequel way out ahead at 68%. Why didn't I take the blue pill? At 16%.
Yeah.
A prequel at 7, a mid-quel at 5, and a reboot at 4. Now that probably,
a reboot?
Yeah, I'm probably on board with it. Why didn't I take the blue pill, or maybe a sequel? I don't want a prequel for the reasons you mentioned. We actually spoke about this, I think, last week or the week before, when we spoke about David Leitch wanting a role in any way, shape or form, be it sweeping on the set or whatnot. And I think I mentioned that they were talking about a prequel and they would have to recast Lawrence Fishburne, a younger version of Morpheus. Doesn't work for me. If you bring the part of the original gang back, you can't then go and recast another version. You would have to go down the de-aging route, which we were speaking about there, which is getting better and better. That's something they could do. I personally would prefer to see a sequel. If they're going to do it, I'd want a quasi-sequel where you just discard the Revolution. I think it was called Revolutions away. It didn't exist. Do what they're doing with, well, not what they're doing with Terminator. I'm not even going to mention the Terminator, because that quasi-sequel can be disbanded and flung into the trash right now. But yeah, if they're going to do it, a quasi-sequel, and then perhaps set it after the events of Reloaded. Do it all again. De-age who needs to be de-aged, which is not Keanu, and then give us a story which is befitting of ending this trilogy. Again, Stephen, I find myself agreeing with you more and more though. Was it ever really a trilogy? I think they should have just left the Matrix where it was. That one movie was pioneering. What it did with CGI and visuals, so it wasn't even CGI, it was basic setup, stop motion. I think it was like they constructed the image through, I think it was hundreds of cameras
and
a circle. What they managed to do on such a tight budget, I'm pretty sure it was a small budget, was absolutely magnificent. The story itself, self-contained, was fantastic. It was this guy awakening up out of this comatose state.
Came out the same year as the Phantom Menace, John.
Phantom Menace.
It's
aged a lot better.
Yeah, the Phantom Menace certainly didn't overshadow it.
No, it didn't. Well, I say that the Phantom Menace didn't age too badly. It's the least bad of the prequels, because a lot of that was practical effects. I'm with you though, Stephen. I don't really want to see anything, to be honest with you. One thing I will say though, the talk of bringing in Neil Patrick Harris as a sort of a new agent, that'd be very intriguing, because he's certainly got that Hugo Weaving look about him. I think he could come in, maybe inject some humour in where it's needed, and just he'd be a fitting antagonist if it is to happen. If Keanu's there and the script's right and they know if they've got a general idea of the Wachowskis, or Lana Wachowski, I think it is, of what she wants to do, then look, I'm on board for it in some way. I say I'm on board for it, I'm not, I'm talking crap, I'm just going to move on in that.
Yeah,
I'm
I think you should, John. It's making me sick.
Just apathetic. That's my one word I'm going to use to describe it. I just don't care. And I'm moving on. Okay, I'm not even going to say I'm looking forward that I'm on board. I'm not. The next topic, Stephen, we'll just end it abruptly. Joker, deleted scene.
Let's just do more John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick, please do. It's much better. Joker deleted scene confirmed that Zazie Beetz' Sophie lived. Not really a surprise to both of us, Steve. This is coming from Screen Rant, but Todd Phillips, I believe, has released a deleted scene, which does put the debate to rest, because it's been in the fandom, that fairly ambiguous ending for the character. Was she done in by the Joker? Of course, he flees the room in a fit of rage. Did he kill her? Well, he doesn't. Todd Phillips is confirmed by a deleted scene. He doesn't kill her. Are you surprised by this? Because I certainly wasn't.
I came away from the film, John. I remember it quite clearly. You know that way you come away from a film, you know, come out of theatre and it sort of lingers on in your head for a while. Well, this film did that, and that was the sort of bit that was playing out in my head was, I think she's still alive. The fact that he's a character, obviously we know what the Joker's capable of. In this version of him, he doesn't have malice towards people that are kind to him.
Yeah.
You made a good point, John, with
the dwarf character. Yeah,
exactly.
If you know what to call them.
But there was two things that stood out.
I'm doing that as well.
Yeah, there was two things that stood out to me. Was obviously the reality of what we are seeing through his eyes. It can be interpreted different ways. The other thing was the scene when he came out of the nurse's room or the doctor's room, whoever that lady was at the very end.
I think it was a psychiatrist or something like that.
He bloodied feet.
Yeah.
When he left the Zazie Beetz, Sophie, I think her character was called, when he left her, there was no visuals to emphasise or obviously hint that he did something wrong. So that kind of gave me sort of closure on the character was okay. You know, that's the way I took it. I always remember I was in the bus home after the film. It was a late night showing, and that's the feeling I got was that she was okay. I wanted to tell myself she was okay because she was a good person. You know, obviously just in the wrong place at the wrong time. It was interesting to see, obviously, through Arthur's sort of eyes as well, this relationship that he had in his head. I don't know, did you believe it when you were watching it the first time round?
No, because Stephen, the set-up early on in the movie with him also going to Bob De Niro on the set of the talk show, it's very clear. They set it up immediately that it's a fantasy. Because he's watching it on the TV with his mother, who's very derisive of him, or derisory towards his also being a standard.
Did you believe that he followed her though that day?
Yeah, I believe he followed her. Yeah, absolutely. Because the guy,
the confrontation just wasn't convincing enough for me though. When she came up to his door and said, "Do you follow me?" and he just came out and said yes, and she was okay about it. You know,
because it was all in his head, Stephen, for the most part. But I think he definitely did follow her.
Yeah,
absolutely, no doubt. I think she's probably let him away with it to some extent. But certainly, I always thought she'd lived. I mean, as you did say, the lack of blooded footsteps. It was very visual, this movie, in a lot of ways, with that ending. Although I did say to you, I'm not entirely convinced he killed the psychiatrist either. That may have been a side-plotty episode as well, with him also dancing down the corridor. How the hell did he kill her? Did she... I mean, it makes no sense to me. But look, a lot of this movie was viewed through the spectrum of Arthur Fleck, and he's a very deranged chap. And I thought the way Todd Phillips did that was quite masterful. So... yeah, I like movies that have got a lot of ambiguity. I'd prefer them perhaps not to release this deleted scene. I like that for also the Christopher Nolan movies like Inception and whatnot. You've got the spinning top. Does it ever stop? I like
Dark
it.
Knight Rises.
Yeah, the Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, did they actually see him? Was this just a fantasy setting? Yeah. I like movies that are open-ended and let you think and talk for years upon years. And certainly, I would have rather left it because it's just good.
Sometimes you don't need things
you
drawn in a chalkboard, John.
No, I feel like that's the problem with modern day society, Stephen. Everything has to be spoon-fed. They need to be given reasons and it written down for them on a bit of paper there. This is exactly what happened. They're on an iPad.
C-3PO character to just tell you, just narrate, what do you call that?
God, I can't remember, Steve.
You know, it's
I always forget that.
They're sort of building up to what's about to happen.
Exposition.
Exposition, that's the word, John. You don't need that in this film.
No, you don't. It was, Stephen, this is something that's just polluting modern day society. All in, man. Everything's becoming simplified. We're dumbing it down for the masses. Even computer games or video games, they used to be much harder back in the day. You didn't have your handheld. Now everything's on rails and it's just easy and it's easy to consume. No, I want to get back to times where everything was a little bit
harder.
Yeah, everything was harder. It was more ambiguous. And you were left thinking about things, because this movie makes you think.
Yes.
You leave, as you did say, and it sits with you. It's an uncomfortable viewing. So I would have rather left it. But look, he's put it out there. She didn't die. It's no surprise to me, but it will end the debate, which is a shame, because it's not good for a movie when you're coming up to award season and you're hoping it's going to get award nominations and the Golden Globes and obviously the Oscars and also the BAFTAs when they come next year. You want the conversation to keep continuing, and then if it gets another release in the lead up to award season, we're in it. Don't know why I'm saying the lead up. Then conversation's good. So it's kind of a shot yourself in the foot there, Stephen. But look, I think we're done here. I've not got much more to add. So that's going to round up the article section of today's MBE movie news, and we will now subsequently go on to the blog rundown section of today's show. Stephen, what have we got coming in first?
First, John, we have got a review from D.M. Anderson. It's 2019's The Lion King. This was directed by Jon Favreau and stars the likes of Donald Glover. Our voices from Donald Glover, Beyonce and Seth Rogen, etc., etc. James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones is in there as Mufasa. Stephen, yes, a wonderful review again, as ever, from Dave. I can't get this bloody tab to move, but I really enjoyed the analogy he made at the end about people wrapping cars, I think it was. Without having the review right in front of me, because my iPad is really taking the piss here. Basically, you feel like you've got a new car, but it's the same old car. That was a perfect analogy for this movie, and listen, I enjoyed it more than a lot of people. A lot of people dubbed this a hollow, soulless movie. I actually really enjoyed it.
John, I'll let you find that just now while I talk.
It's having an absolute nightmare.
The one thing I took from Dave's review as well, John, which is something I agreed, was that the film is, from start to finish, eye candy. There's no question about that. It's a stunning piece of cinematography. Just the visuals. Okay, there was a lot of shot for shot. The angles were spot on as well. I noticed that, but it is what it is. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've got to be honest with you. I thought it was a great film. I've seen it countless times in animated form, so I was very intrigued to see how this film would perform, because as Dave does say in his review as well, it's very hard to obviously show emotion in animals. You struggle with dogs without it looking silly. That lady in the tramp.
There's something about that trailer.
Something funny about their mouths and stuff like that. Well, it was the kind of same experience in this as well, John, where they've got no emotion in their face in that sense. Maybe their eyes may water or something like that. That's as far as the emotion goes, but it's a very hard thing to do. So I wasn't expecting much. After seeing The Jungle Book as well, John, from a few years back from Jon Favreau, Dave does mention this. Obviously they've learned from The Jungle Book how to adapt his characters into sort of more realistic form as well. I thought the film was stunning. But I agree with most of what Dave's saying in this as well. Was it necessary? I don't think any of us agreed it was necessary. It was a film that we really needed, but it's tearing up at the box office as well, so it must be doing something right.
Stephen, it absolutely is. I'm looking at the box office numbers just now. It is number 2 for 2019 worldwide, $1.65 billion. Now that is remarkable.
Yeah.
Remarkable for an animated re-release or remake. And then you look down, Aladdin's 6, and I think Dumbo's miles away after that 22nd, but even that made money. Stephen, he's right. He's absolutely right in what he says. That's why I was highlighting that analogy about the obviously packing, or the, can't recall the word. What the hell's it called? It doesn't even matter. Re-thing in the car anyway. You feel like you're in an old car, or you're in a new car, but it's still the same car. It was a perfect analogy for this movie.
Yeah.
But that had been said, I still enjoyed it tremendously, because I'm a Disney sycophant. I've said it time and again. One thing I will say is that I don't feel that the musical numbers, and I said it before, live up to the original. They were nowhere near, and you bring in a guy like Donald Glover. I'm a big fan of Childish Gambino, Donald Glover, but he's not quite got the voice to actually hit the high notes. He can sing, I'm not doing him down, but even Beyonce didn't really utilise her voice to the best. One thing they did utilise though was the humour of Keegan-Michael Key. Is obviously what the hell was his name? Kamari, and Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen as Pumbaa and Timon. I'm getting them mixed up. I do that all the time. If you look at the outtakes of a Force Friday show, you'd know that. But they were wonderful. They were probably the standout thing in this movie, the bickering. And as Dave does say, they even somehow managed to inject some more humour into the hyena scenes. So all in all, look, it's not going to win any awards at the Oscars. Perhaps technical, it may for visuals, I don't know, because as you did say, it's just something about Jon Favreau and Disney movies. Obviously the Jungle Book, he's pioneered this new technology
Yeah.
where they can show the dailies and it's almost like it's complete. They can give the actors an idea of what the movie's going to look like. It's pioneering technology. It's really freshening up how you reshoot movies and whatnot. So that's there. He done it for Jungle Book. He done it again with this hyper photo realistic CGI. I think they're calling it, and it was marvellous. Apart from those mouths, but look, I've seen it in the opening weekend. Thoroughly enjoyed it, more than most. But Dave's right in a sense. It wasn't needed.
Yeah.
But I'll take it because I'm a Disney sycophant, and we'll move on that note, Stephen.
Another great review from DM Anderson, John. But we'll move on to our next movie review coming in from Peter Plymers. You need to correct us here, Peter.
I'll go Plymers.
Yep, I think we'll go with that, John. It's anyway, the film's called Pledge. It's from 2018, and this has been directed by Daniel Robbins, starring Zachary Bird, Philip Andre Botello, and Zach Wiener.
Rather you than me, Stephen, on those goddamn names because they are hard. Yeah, Stephen, by all accounts, it is a horror movie about a group of three losers. I think we've seen this before. The losers try to get in with the cool kids. They'll try to join a college fraternity, I believe, but it's not happening because they are gimps, essentially. They've been discarded by the cool kids. They have a change in fortunes. They get invited in by a hot girl, I think Peter says, and then it all starts to go downhill. When they realise, look, we've made it, we're in with these cool guys, the shit hits the fan, the proverbial fan, and some crazy shit starts going down. I think there's an initiation process. They try to get them to do various different things, and it ain't good for them thereafter. Now, he does say, Stephen, that the first half of the movie, tonally, I think, was more comedic. It was quite strange, jarring. I think he says it was more akin to Pokey, I believe it was, one of the films, and Revenge of the Nerds. And I've not seen the movie, but we did watch the trailer, and we got a right good idea for the story from the trailer. They gave a lot of the story away in the trailer, and you get a sense in that tonal shift. The first half of the trailer was quite light, comedic heavy. They're walking into a garden late.
Superbad.
Yeah, it was like Superbad. Yeah, it was like Superbad meets what the hell was that one? Was it Ready or Not? Horror movie from about a month or so back, 2 months back that I watched. Really good horror movie. Underrated, flew under the radar.
Yeah.
Not flung, like I've said before. But it was similar. They go into this house. This young girl goes in with her fiance, her partner, into this house, and it's initiation games with the family. They try to kill her. Yeah. Similar thing here. It goes south. But yeah, it's got that super bad vibe as well. It's these geeky guys. They're out of touch. They're trying to get in with the cool gang. And then there's that tonal shift. That intrigued me. The trailer, Stephen, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that the trailer grabbed me and made me want to go and watch it, because it didn't. It looked okay.
Yeah.
But what he does say and what it seems to have and going in its favour, it's quite short. He says it's like an in-between movie. You can watch this in between perhaps better movies.
Yeah.
So it has that going for it, and I think that's something that's important.
Yeah, during a weekday evening, I think it's one of those ones you just sort of fill in if you get some spare time, John. But you're right, something about that trailer, it gave too much away for my liking. Also, the tonal shift as well was very evident in the trailer as well, John. I've not seen the film either, but
he's dying.
Peter, that's what I said.
He's dying,
Peter did say, Pledge is one of the best low-budget indie horror movies I've seen in the last year. Certainly a must-see for lovers of the genre. I think you've got to be really into the genre, so I appreciate where Peter's coming from, John.
And it was funded through Kickstarter, which is always nice to see. Independent filmmakers having it filmed by fans and then making something that's quite meaningful. It turns out pretty good. One
of the phrases that Peter does use, it's not really a terrible torture porn type of film, because when I did start reading the review, Peter, I did films like Hostel and Saw were starting to come into my head. How are they going to handle this? Are they going to really go down that road with this initiation? Who knows? By all accounts, they didn't. Obviously there was some, I would say, maybe sadistic scenes in there, John. Maybe in the tone.
We see the fat kid get slapped or punched.
Yeah.
Which always seems to happen. They always seem to be the butt of the jokes. But Stephen, if it turned into a good old siege horror, then it's maybe something that would intrigue me. I really enjoy psychological horror movies, as I've said time and again, but I'm quite partial to a siege horror movie. Green Room from a few years back, I really liked that. I think it was Stewart. It was Patrick Stewart and Anton Yelchin who were in that, and that was a right good siege horror movie. Hush was another one from, Christ, what was his goddamn name? Mike Flanagan, he done Doctor Sleep. Another good siege horror movie. So if it turns into something like that, and the fact that it's funded by Kickstarter, I'd maybe go and give the filmmakers the money, just because that's a great thing. Seeing these guys getting to realise their dream of making a movie. Seen it with Kung Fury. That was a really good kick-started movie. It popped up on YouTube. Thoroughly enjoyed that. And now it's got a sequel with Arnie and the gang appearing in it. So that shows you what can happen. So hats off to them.
Yeah, John.
Hats off to Peter. It was a good review.
If it's on Netflix, and I'll maybe seek this out, I'll give it a wee watch and just see how can take to it. Certainly the genre is not obviously my favourite genre, but the review is intriguing enough to get me to stand up and take notice. But we'll move on to our final movie review, John, of this evening or today, whenever you're watching this. It is Avengement from 2019. This is directed by Jesse V. Johnson and stars the likes of Scott Adkins, Craig Fairbrass, Dan from EastEnders that is. Thomas Turgus is in there as well.
And the guy from Lock, Stock, Two Smoking
Yeah, I
Barrels.
was going to look for his name.
If it's Thomas Turgus, then
no, it's not him, John. I can't remember his name. I'll look that up. But we watched the trailer for this. We've not seen the film, John. But Scott Adkins, he was in the second film for the Expendables, John. He was also in a film that you watched.
Triple Threat.
Not that long ago. We talked about that as well. That was reviewed.
It was Dave reviewed it.
I think it was reviewed by Steve as well. I think there was
the
two reviews in. So I mean, he's obviously well known. He's more well known over here, obviously, because he's from the UK. But from what we saw from the trailer, John, the action sequences were very graphic and very interesting. And I'm very intrigued to see this movie now.
Stephen, I will definitely watch this movie after watching that trailer and reading the review. What he says about it having vibes, or you can compare it with Brawl and Sailboat 99, that's always a promising thing, because that was a really, really good movie, quite a violent movie as well. Look, I like the look of it. I do like Scott Adkins. I think there's something about the guy. He's a traditional sort of action star. Very big, imposing guy. Yeah, and that chap's Nick Moran, incidentally, who was in it from Lock, Stock. He's a big imposing guy, he's muscular, he's brutish, thunderous strikes, and I really got that in Triple Threat. That's one thing I liked about that. We had three traditional martial artists from the Far East. I think it was Korea and Japan and different places, it might even have been China, facing off against Michael J. White and I think Scott Adkins, and there was another chap, more Western style, thumping punches and brutish strokes and stuff like that, and that differentiation, I just made a word up, difference, I'll just go with difference. That difference in styles was very alluring on the eyes. So he's a guy I'm well aware of, Scott Adkins, and the fact that he's in it does intrigue me, it attracts me, and from the trailer, having watched it, the fact he's getting the metal teeth and stuff like that, he looks like a very disenfranchised guy.
Jaws from James Bond.
Jaws from James Bond. In fact, I thought you were talking about the shark there, Stephen, I was looking back. But the fact he is, it seems to be more than a traditional action movie. He's got some issues going on. I think it's his brother or something like that, or two guys, and you and my brother did it. He's got a vengeance, he's on the vengeance. It put me in mind of a great Andy Serkis movie where one of the guys, I can't recall who it was, goes after Andy Serkis, he kills his family and then he goes through prison, learns the hard way, fighting, stuff like that, and finally faces off against his nemesis, Andy Serkis. Can't recall what the hell that was called, I'll need to search it up. But it gave me vibes of that when I was watching it. And just, look, he's an out-and-out action star, but as you did say, he was in the, what's the name of that goddamn movie?
Expendables.
Expendables, yes.
John, so one of the things I know our former writer, Darren, was a massive fan of the actor, and that's when I took notice of him, reading Darren's reviews. This guy should be, I think, maybe on par with
Stephen.
Yeah, I think he's got.
I think it's the name.
He's got the charisma. I think it is as well, John. I think it's too ordinary. I think he's got the charisma of
Frank Grill,
he's got the. There's another one,
Frank Grill.
He seems to have, certainly in the US, he's obviously picking up bigger films, but this guy, he's actually going to be appearing in the next Ip Man film as well, Ip Man 4. I think they've just completed production of that, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. He's the right fit for that type of film as well. I think this guy should be more famous than he is. I know he's appeared in obviously Expendables, John, Triple Threat, etc. But these are films that are sort of
the middling action films, big ensemble ones. You bring in Dolph Lundgren, Arnie, Sly Stallone, a lot. I think Stephen was in it as well at one point. I've not watched a lot of them. I've seen the first one. I've not really followed it thereafter, but I've watched Sly Stallone training for them. and Jesus Christ, that guy in his 70s is impressive.
Yeah.
That movie, Stephen, I was talking about, the Andy Serkis movie that gave me vibes off, was The Escapist, from all the way back in 2002. Him and Johnny Lee Miller were in it, so that was a very good movie. I highly urge people to watch it.
He was also in Doctor Strange as well. John played Lucy in Strong New Zealand. I can't remember.
I don't recall him in Doctor Strange at all.
It's been a while since I've seen
Maybe
the film.
he was just playing a brawling sort of a side character who was in
He
amongst
could have been one of the henchmen, yeah.
Yeah, because there was a sequence, wasn't there, when he goes and the guys come in and try and attack him, then the cape starts fighting him and stuff like that. Yeah. Maybe he was one of them.
Yeah.
Because he certainly knows how to do slick choreography, Stephen, and I got that from the trailer. Look, I'm on board for it. I'll probably will give it a bash. I'm trying to remember who was the director of Brawl and Sailboat in '99. I'm sure it was the same guy that did Dragged Across Concrete, with that Mel Gibson movie with Vince Vaughn. Pretty damn sure. Name's completely left my brain. That's something that happens a lot. But look, I've not got much more to add. I haven't seen it yet. It was a very in-depth review. We do thank Peter for that, for opening that up to me. I didn't even realise it existed, so thanks for that, Peter. But look, Stephen, I don't know if you've got much more to add, and so that will round up the blog rundown section of the show, and indeed movie news for today. Look, guys, what did you make of the James Dean story, him being reborn in CG? Is this ethically correct? Is this something you want to see? Are you excited for the technical aspects? What did you make of the other topics we spoke about, the likes of the Matrix and whatnot? What did you make of the reviews? If you have anything to say, comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. Me and Stephen will be back tomorrow again for the Force Friday show.